All right, Shavuot, say good morning. Let's begin. Today's daf is Lamed Vav 36. We are picking up on the top of Lamed Vav, second line down at Tana Debei Rabbi Shmuel. Shavuot, say beautiful Gemara ahead of us today. Our shir this morning is dedicated by Leah Sol, and it's a chusuf for her daughter Ilana Bas Esther. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, Ilana, together with Kol Cholei Yisrael, will have a complete and enduring refuah. And we'll say with that, let's begin. Tana Debei Rabbi Shmuel. So we'll see another incredible halacha. V'dam chalalim yishta. So we'll remember again, we were speaking about yesterday different types of blood. Right? We were speaking about the blood of shchita, the blood that comes from a mesa animal that is dead, just dies on its own, and the blood which comes ultimately again from chalalim, an animal which is killed through some type of non-shchita means. So remember again, the dama shchita, if that's machshir lekabel tuma, that's machlokes Rabbi Shimon and the Rabbanon. Dam chalalim, it appears that everyone agrees for now that it is machshir. Dam meis, right, blood that just comes from an animal which died, it appears that everyone is holding it is not machshir. So there's another drush now that the Gemara makes. So dam chalalim yishta, and literally again, remember this is the bracha of Bilam. He will drink from the dam chalalim. He will drink ultimately again from the blood of the animals which he kills, or from the blood of the bodies which he kills. So both say, what does this come to exclude? Prat ledam kiluach. Rabbi say this comes to exclude blood. Dam kiluach means literally blood which trickles out. Blood which trickles out. She'eno machshir es hazraim. For this type of blood does not go ahead. It is not machshir es hazraim. Does not go ahead if it spills on seeds. Make the seeds or plants for that matter. Roi lekabel tuma. Look at Rashi just a moment. Prat ledam kiluach. Rashi says, Hamakis es habehema betrila. But say if somebody literally does bloodletting from an animal. So in the beginning, when the blood comes out, betrila hadam shoses betipa achas oshtayim. The blood flows out a little bit at a time. V'achar kachu mikaleach. Then it begins to flow more regularly. V'achar kachu mashchir. Then Abba says the blood really flows out. It's a darkened blood, right? It's almost blackish in nature. V'hachi kaimalam bekrisus. V'tanya hasam ezu dam hekiz shanefesh yotzebo mitipa mishacheres ve'elach. Aval dam kiluach lo havi dam nefesh. So what's what the Gemara is teaching me here is as follows: that when the blood begins to trickle out of the animal, that blood is not machshir something lekabel tuma. Why? Because it is only dam hanefesh. It is only lifeblood, which is machshir lekabel tuma. Early blood, right, we'll call it the beginning of the trickling of the blood, which Rashi understands as a redder type of blood, is not machshir lekabel tuma. But say, in essence, what the Gemara is really saying over here is that what we call this dam kiluach is essentially dam magafa or hagafa. It's blood from a wound. And blood from a wound, like we established yesterday, is also not machshir lekabel tuma. Good. Turn Rabbanon. Hashochet v'hitis dam adalas. Let's listen to this interesting case. I shecht an animal, and as I'm shechting, some of the blood spurts on a gourd. On a gourd, Rashi says, al had dalas, telusha shel truma. So we'll say the particular case over here is the blood spurts on a gourd that is detached from the ground and happens to be a gourd of tuma. A gourd of truma. So we'll say, so what's the shaila? So the shaila is, does the spurting of the blood make the gourd ra'ui lekabel tuma? Does it make it tuma receptive or not? So the Gemara says machlokes. Rabbi Omer Huchshar. Rabbi says ultimately again the gourd is Huchshar lekabel tuma. Rabbi Chia Omer Tolin. And Rabbi Chia says, or we'll say Tolin essentially means that the status of the gourd is suspended. Status of the gourd is suspended. We don't know the status of the gourd. Okay, suspended. So Rabbi Shia. So let's analyze this. So Rabbi Shia says, "Me'achar Rabbi Omer Huchshar." Rabbi Shia says after Rabbi said that ultimately again, if the blood of the shchita spurts on the gourd of truma, it is Huchshar lekabel tuma. Rabbi Chia Amar Tolin, and Rabbi Chia says we don't know what to do with it. So instead we just say Tolin. Anu amin nismoch. Who should we rely on? So what should we do? Halacha lamaisa. Bo v'nismoch al divrei Rabbi Shimon. So Rabbi Chia suggests. So Rabbi Shia suggests let's rely on Rabbi Shimon. What does Rabbi Shimon say? Going back to the Mishnah. Sha'ir Rabbi Shimon Omer shchita machshares velo dam. Because let's remember again in the Mishnah, Rabbi Shimon's opinion, that this is based on the interpretation of Rav Asi, as we saw it yesterday, that Rabbi Shimon's shita is what? That it is dafka the shchita that is machshir the animal lekabel tumah, and not dam. Rabbi Shimon is of the opinion that dam hashchita is not one of the liquids which is machshir an animal lekabel tumah, machshir an item to lekabel tumah. So therefore, Rabbi say, essentially what's happening over here is as follows. Rabbi Oshia says, we have a machlokes. I'm shechting an animal, the blood spurts on a gourd of truma. I want to know, is the gourd now, is it receptive to tumah or not? Rabbi says yes, Reb Chia says Chullin. Rabbi Oshia says, we don't know what to do, so let's bring in Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon says that the blood of shchita is not machshir, and therefore, Rabbi say, if you include Rabbi Shimon's shita into this fold, then essentially what? You pretty much have like 2 against 1. You'll have Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Chia, and although Rabbi Chia is not saying definitively that it's not machshir, he's also not saying that it is machshir, so you kind of have 2 against 1 against Rabbi who says that it is machshir. All right, so let's analyze this. I'm Rav Papa. So we'll say, Rav Papa says a little bit deeper. Hakol modim, everyone agrees in the following case. This is actually quite amazing. Heicha di'isei ledam mitchila v'atsof. Now we'll say, when the blood remains on the gourd, from the beginning till the end of the shchita, right? When the blood remains on the gourd, from literally the beginning of the shchita till the end of the shchita, so kuli amal opli machshir. Everyone will agree that the blood of shchita that spurted onto the gourd will be machshir the gourd lekabel tumah. So where's the machlokes? Ki pligi biniskana chadam bein simin l'simin. I will say, where does the machlokes come up? Watch this case. Just follow this. I shechted the animal, the blood spurted on the gourd. What do? So what Rav Papa is suggesting is as follows. If the blood remained there throughout the entire shchita, everyone agrees that the blood is effective in making the gourd roi lekabel tumah. So where's the machlokes? The machlokes is biniskana chadam bein simin l'simin. But so let's say again, the blood spurted on the gourd, and in between the cutting of the kana and the veshet, I cleaned up the gourd. I cleaned up the blood from the gourd. So we'll say, so what's the machlokes here? Rabbi Savar, here we go. Rabbi holds, yeshna l'shchita mitchila v'atsof. Rabbi holds, we'll say that the process of shchita is a continuum. It begins with the first incision on the outside of the neck of the animal, and it concludes when? At the end of the cutting of the second simin. And therefore what? V'hai dam shchitahu. And I both say this blood is considered to be dam shchita. Why? Because it was there during some part of the shchita. And as long as it was present on the gourd at some part in the shchita, therefore what? It is considered like dam shchita, and therefore is machshir the gourd lekabel tumah. Reb Chia on the other hand holds, eina l'shchita ella basof. Rabbi say Reb Chia holds that no, shchita Rabbi say is not a continuum, and instead, what's the halacha with shchita? Shchita is only considered to have occurred at the end of the shchita. If that's the case, Rabbi say, then what happens? Then any blood until the conclusion of the shchita is not called dam shchita. Rather, what is it called? It's called dam maka. It's called the blood of a wound or of an injury. And what's the status of dam maka, dam hagafa, as we saw yesterday? That is not machshir something lekabel tumah. Therefore, as Reb Chia Savar ina l'shchita lebasof, shchita is only finalized at the end, right? Therefore, again, I will say, if you wipe up that blood before shchita ultimately is completed, that blood v'haydam damakohu, and therefore is not machshir lekabel tumah. So we'll say, so what's happening over here is as follows. According to this version of Rav Papa, so everyone is agreeing. So both Rebbe and Rabbi Chia are agreeing that halacha l'maisa dam shchita is machshir an item lekabel tumah. What's the root of their machlokes? The root of their machlokes is a more yisodistic machlokes of yeshna l'shchita mitchila v'atsof, or ina l'shchita ela lebasof. Rebbe holds yeshna l'shchita mitchila v'atsof. Therefore, as long as that blood was at some point in time during the shchita, that's dam shchita and is machshir lekabel tumah. Reb Chia says ina l'shchita ela lebasof, which means that if the blood was spurted on the gourd and you cleaned up that blood before the shchita was completed, that is not dam shchita, that is dam maka, and therefore is not machshir the item lekabel tumah. Umay tolin. So we'll say, what does it mean when Rabbi Chia said tolin? That we go ahead and literally again we'll say tolin. Tolin usually means like to suspend. So usually when we see that lashon, it means we don't know the status of the item, so we kind of keep it suspended in halacha. My tolin hadavar ad gimar shchita. So we'll say Tolin, according to Rabbi Chia, means we keep the matter suspended until the end of the shechita. What does that mean? If the blood is still there at the end of the shechita, then what? Machshir. Then indeed the blood will be machshir, the animal lekabel tumah. V'ilo. But if at the end of the day, the blood is not there at the end of the shechita, then lo machshir. Then ultimately, again, the blood will not be machshir, the animal lekabel tumah. Umay bo v'nismoch al divrei Rabbi Shimon. So I'll say, so what did it mean then before? When Rabbi Shia said, let's bring in Rabbi Shimon over here and rely on the sheet of Rabbi Shimon. So here we go. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Shimon lo machshir. So let's remember again, according to Rabbi Shimon holds in general, dam shchita is not machshir lekabel tumah. The Rabbi Chia, machshir. B'neskanach, so Rabbi Chia holds that dam shchita does have the ability to make something roi lekabel tumah. Mihu, b'neskanach, but when the blood was wiped away before the conclusion of shchita, mihu ashvu lahadadi. Ultimately, again, Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Chia would be the equivalent. Marlo machshir, marlo machshir. Ultimately, again, both Rabbi Chia as well as Rabbi Shimon would agree that blood in such a case would not be machshir lekabel tumah. If that's the case, Havile Rabbi Chad ve'in dvarav shel echad b'makom shnayim. Therefore, I will say in this particular case, where the blood of the shechita was wiped up before the shechita was completed, so you would have Rabbi Chia who would hold that such blood is not machshir lekabel tumah because it's not considered to be dam shechita because it wasn't present at the end of the shechita. Couple that with the shita of Rabbi Shimon who holds that in general dam shechita is not machshir lekabel tumah, and you have what? You have two against one. You have Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Shimon against the opinion of Rabbi, and therefore you're going to both say very often in halacha it becomes a matter of numbers. 2 against 1, the halacha follows the rabbim against the yachid. So we'll say that is Rav Papa's interpretation of this machlokes, that everyone is agreeing in principle that dam shchita is machshir, but really their fundamental machlokes is at what point in time does this blood become dam shchita. Rabbi holds from the beginning it's called dam shchita. Rabbi Chia holds only at the end it's called dam shchita. Nafkamina is if the blood spurted on the gourd and was cleaned up before the shchita was complete. According to Rabbi, that's still dam shchita, therefore machshir. According to Rabbi Chia, it's not dam shchita and therefore not machshir. Rav Ashi has a little bit of a different interpretation. Rav Ashi Amar Tolin li'ola mashma. Rav Ashi says, first of all, the lashon of Tolin, which is Rabbi Chia's statement, really Rabbi say has an ongoing connotation to it. Tolin doesn't just usually mean we keep something suspended for a little bit amount of time. Tolin, actually, Rashi points this out. Rashi says, the ola mashma ad sheyavo Eliyahu v'yodienu. So we'll say, so all Rav Ashi is pointing out over here is usually the lashon of Tolin means that we keep something suspended until Eliyahu comes for a much longer amount of time. So the Gemara says, Tolin the ola mashma. Vinis kanach, we'll say in a situation where ultimately, again, the blood was cleaned up before the shechita was complete. The Rabbi Chia sapuke misapkele. Rabbi Chia was mesupak. What's his safek? Yeshna l'shchita mitchila vatsof, o eino l'shchita ela basof. So we'll say in this version, Rav Ashi understands that actually, Rabbi Chia has a suffix. Rabbi Chia is actually not sure what to do. He's not sure of the halacha. Do we hold yeshna l'shchita mitchila vatsof, or eino l'shchita ela basof? Umay tolin, and I will say, what does tolin mean? Tolin means lo ochlin v'lo sarfin. It means, I will say, that when it comes to this gourd, therefore what? We will not go ahead and eat it, nor will we burn it. So we'll say in a case where ultimately, again, the blood spurted on the gourd, and the blood was cleaned up prior to the end of the shechita, now Rav Ashi suggests that Rabbi Chia himself is not sure what the halacha is. Do we hold yeshnu l'shchita mitchila v'adsof, o eino l'shchita ela l'basof? Because we're not sure, therefore, again, we don't know what the status of the gourd is. So tolin mamish means tolin. Tolin means we don't eat it, we don't burn it, because literally, we don't know what to do with it. Rashi says, lo ochlin velo sarfin, im niskanach kodim gemara shchita, v'achar kach naga tuma bizram. So we'll say, obviously, we didn't state this explicitly, but it's understood. So what's happening over here in this case, Rabbi say, is the blood is spurting on the gourd, right? The blood is cleaned up before the end of the shechita. Someone tameh or something tameh comes and touches the gourd. So the shaila is now, what is the status of the gourd? So we'll say in this version, Rabbi Chia is saying, Chullin. The status of the gourd is suspended. We don't eat it, but we also don't destroy it because we don't know what to do with it. Umay, so we'll say, what did it mean before when it's what Rabbi Shia said, Bo v'nismoch al divrei Rabbi Shimon. So we'll say, what did it mean when we said before, let's rely on the words of Rabbi Shimon? So watch this. The Rabbi Shimon lo machshir. So we'll say, according to Rabbi Shimon, in general, Rabbi Shimon always holds that the blood of shchita is never machshir, an item to be makabel tuma. He doesn't hold that shchita blood is one of the liquids that's machshir. The Rabbi Chia, sfeika. According to Rabbi Chia, we'll say, it's a suffix, li'in sreifa. But I will say, when it comes to destroying, in this case, an object of truma, mihu shavu lahadadi. I will say, both Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Chia will agree that under these circumstances, you will not destroy a gourd of truma. Why not? Marlo sarfe, umarlo sarfe. So we'll say, ultimately, again, Rabbi Shimon will say, you don't burn it. Why not? I will say, now for different reasons. Rabbi Shimon will say, you don't burn the gourd. Why not? Because he holds it's not tameh. Right? He holds that the blood of shchita is never machshir lekabel tuma. Therefore, there's no need to burn the gourd. Rabbi Chia will say, don't burn it because we're not sure about what the status is. Havilei revichad ve'in dvarav shal echad b'makom shnayim. Therefore, I will say, in this case, Rabbi who would hold that you would burn the gourd, because Rabbi holds that ultimately, again, the blood of the shchita is machshir, and yesh l'shchita mitchila vad sof. So in this case, the Gemara Rabbi Shia is suggesting we would not follow the position of Rabbi to burn the gourd. Why? Because you have two against one. Both Rabbi say don't burn the gourd. Granted, Rabbi say they're saying don't burn the gourd for what? For two different reasons, but they're both agreeing do not destroy the gourd of truma, against the position of Rabbi who would say that you can or would destroy the gourd of truma. Therefore, again, when you have one against two, two win. Vachi kamar kigon zos tolin lo ochlin velo sarfin. And also what the Gemara is saying over here is, in this kind of case, you would keep the gourd in halachic suspended animation, right? And you would not go, don't eat it and don't burn it. Okay, so we'll say. So that concludes that sugya. So we'll say, so this we're going to transition out to a little bit of a different sugya, but before we go ahead and do that, we'll say, so how do we pass with all these types of blood? So the Rambam, this is in Hilchos Tumas Ochlin, Perek Yud Halacha Gimel, says as follows: Hadam hamoni min hamashkis. So we'll say, everyone agrees that blood is one of the 7 liquids, which ultimately, again, makes an item receptive lekabel tuma. So the machlokes here is what type of blood has this property. So the Rambam writes, Hu adam hashoses b'shas shchita min habehema v'achaya va'ofetzos. So we'll say, first of all, number 1 is the Rambam rejects the view of Rabbi Shimon and accepts the view of the Rabbana. Namely, dam shchita does make an item roi lekabel tuma. Right, so dam shchita is a proper mash, is one of the zayin mashkos, right, that ultimately again makes something right of the kabel tumos. That's point number 1, which is a very important point. Rabbi Shimon is rejected, the Rabbanon are accepted. But now the Rambam qualifies this. He says, what type of dam shchita? This is dafka, the type of blood which trickles out or flows out at the time of the shchita. Aval dam hakiluach eno machshir sha'adayin chayin hein. V'hari hu doma ladam maka or ladam hakaza. Therefore, but the Rambam says something very interesting, and we're going to further distinguish this in really more tomorrow. We'll say what we call this dam kiluach. Dam kiluach, we'll say, means the blood which trickles out initially. That's not called shchita blood. That's called dam kiluach, trickle blood, and that's treated, we'll say, like blood from a wound, right? And blood from a wound, dam maka, ultimately, again, is not machshir lekabel tuma. So we'll say again, we'll get into how we know which kind of blood is what. We'll get into that, but just for our purposes now, halacha lemaisa, again, dam maka is not machshir lekabel tuma. Dam shchita is machshir lekabel tuma. Dam kiluach, Rabbi will say, which sounds like, again, blood which comes out at the beginning of shchita, doesn't have the status of dam shchita, but rather has the status of dam maka. So the Rambam goes on, lefichach tolin alav. I suppose we're not going to get into the rest of the cases over here, but for our purposes now, that's how we close out that sugya. Dam shchita is machshir lekabel tuma. Dam kiluach, which is the initial flow, has the status of dam maka, is not machshir lekabel tuma, and of course, by extension, dam maka itself ultimately is not machshir lekabel tuma as well. All right, there's a lot more, but we'll have to go weiter now. By Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, so also Rish Lakish raised the following kasha. By Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, Tzarit Shalmanachos. So let's listen to this interesting case. Tzarit Shalmanachos, Rashi points out over here as follows. Rashi says, Tzarit Shalmanachos, Karte kemach hatzabor b'mincha, vein shemen nichnas l'socho. I will say, if you have a dried clump in a mincha, which oil did not touch. So let's remember again, a mincha is a meal offering from flour and oil. So we'll say, let's say you have a clump of flour and the oil never came in contact with it. So we'll say essentially what you have over here is a solid which was never touched by a liquid. So we'll say, so the halacha is, monin bo rishon v'sheni. So we'll say, it's a shaila. Monin bo rishon v'sheni, or ein monin bo rishon v'sheni. So we'll say, here's what's interesting. Under normal circumstances, if the oil came in contact with the flour, then of course the mincha is roi lakabel tuma. That we know. That we know, because it will say it came in contact with a liquid. We're asking over here is as follows: the solid part of a mincha, which did not come in contact with a liquid. So what's its status? What's its status? Now, specifically, what we're asking over here is, if it becomes tameh, does it have the ability to convey tuma to something else or not? That's the lashon of monin bo rishon v'sheni bosai, means, does this item have the ability to convey tuma to something else? So the Gemara says, ki mahanya chibas kodesh afsule gufei lemimne be rishon v'sheni lo al dilma loshna. So also here's what's interesting. The Gemara takes it for granted that halacha l'maisa, this dry clump of the mincha, has the ability to go ahead and be makabel tuma. Why, Rabbi Osai? Even though it didn't come in contact with a liquid. Why? There's something called chibas kodesh. We actually had this concept before. Chibas kodesh, Rabbi Osai, means that because kodesh is something that is so special, therefore, again, the heightened kedusha makes it more sensitive to tuma, and because of that, even circumstances in which normally an item would not be makabel tuma, an item of kodesh can be makabel tuma. So even though ordinarily, normally, you need contact with a liquid in order to be makabel tuma, kodesh is different. Kodesh is different. So therefore, Rabbi Osai, we know that the dry piece of the mincha has the ability to makabel tuma. That I know. The shaila is, Rabbi Osai, does chibas kodesh make it able to receive tuma and transmit tuma, or is chibas kodesh only enough to receive tuma, but it cannot transmit tuma? Amar Rabbi Lazar Tashma. Let's analyze this. Mikala ochel asher ye'achel. So we'll say, so the pasuk says, Mikala ochel asher ye'achel v'asher yavo alav mayim yitma. So we'll say, so the pasuk says, any food item that shall be eaten, and again, asher yavo alav mayim yitma, which comes in contact with water, will become tameh. So the Gemara says, what do we learn from this? Ochel haba b'mayim hochsher. We'll say, food which comes in contact with water becomes hochsher lekabel tuma. Ochel she'ino ba b'mayim, I will say, food that does not come in contact with water, so lo hochsher. Ultimately, again, it's not hochsher lekabel tuma. So we'll say, so this seems to be kind of straightforward. So the Gemara says, Atu Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, lesle ochel haba b'mayim. So we'll say, does Reish Lakish not hold of this principle? Because we'll say, Reish Lakish is telling me that the dry piece of the mincha has the ability to makabel tuma even without contact with water. So does Reish Lakish not hold of this drasha? To which the Gemara says, Shimon Lakish hachikami bayile. This is what Rabbi Shimon Lakish is actually asking about. So we'll say last two lines on Amud Aleph. So chibas hegdish ka'ochel haba b'mayim dami olo. But we'll say what Rish Lakish is really asking is as follows. The concept of chibas hektish, I will say, which means that something that is consecrated and sanctified has the ability to be makabel tuma. So we'll say ultimately again, does that make it? Does something that is hektish make it as if it's come in contact with water or not? Rabbi Elazar, nami mi yisuri krai kamar. So say Rabbi Elazar himself is dashing from what appears to be an extra phrase in the pasuk. How so? Michti, let's analyze this. Ksiv v'chi yutan mayim al zera. But say the pasuk says, if water will come upon the seed, which indicates to us what? that in order for an item to be makabel tumah, it has to come in contact with water. Mikala ochel asher ye'achel lamali. So we'll say, so therefore, why do I need, if the pasuk is already telling me that the seed is only makabel tumah when water comes upon it, then what do I need the phrase mikala ochel asher ye'achel asher yavo alav mayim? What do I need that phrase for? Lamali. What do I need that for? Amud beis. We'll say it seems to be redundant. Lamed vava on beis, the top of the daf. Lav lemeute chibas kodesh. Rabbi say, is this not coming to exclude chibas kodesh? And to tell me that what? That in the case of, let's say, of a kodesh item, although normally in order to makabel tumah and by extension transmit tumah, you need contact with water. Kodesh is different. Kodesh is different, and Kodesh, I will say, as a result of Chibas Kodesh, as a result of ultimately just being a consecrated item, therefore, by definition, that creates it as if the item has come in contact with water, and therefore has the ability to receive and transmit Tumah, to which the Gemara says, Lo, Chad betumas meis, v'chad betumas sheretz. I will say, no, it's actually what the Torah is teaching me is as follows. Two different cases of tumah, Rabbi say. One is a case of tumas meis, which is the tumah ultimately again contracted through contact with a corpse, and one is tumas sheretz. And Rabbi say the Torah is teaching me in two different circumstances that halacha l'mais, in order for an item to contract tumas meis and tumas sheretz, it first has to be made tumah receptive through contact with a liquid. Why do I need to be taught both of these halachos? So tzrichi, here we go. Diashmuin on tumas meis, because as the Torah just taught me, that in order to be makabel tumas meis, there has to first be contact with the water. With water, I would have said, hasam hu de by hechsher. It's only in that case by tumas meis that there first has to be contact with water in order to be makabel tumah. Why? Mishum de lo metame bechadasha. Because there was a tumas meis, there is a shear, as opposed to tumas sheretz, which I will say even a smallest amount, like kadash, like a lentils amount of sheretz, because sheretz has a din of burial, will go ahead and transmit tumah. Aval sheretz dimentami bechadasha imelo. But I will say with sheretz, which transmits tumah in such small amount, maybe I will say in order for the transmission of that tumah to occur, there does not have to be a hechsher b'mayim beforehand. So the Gemara says, loli by hechsher, v'yashvin and sheretz, and if the Torah would have just taught me sheretz, then in order to be makabel tumah sheretz, the item first has to be made tumah receptive through contact with a liquid. I would have said what? Mishum dolametame tumas shiva. Because I will say ultimately again, tumas sheretz does not convey a 7-day tumah period. Aval meis, demetame tumas shiva. But I will say a person who dies, right, the corpse, that does convey tumas shiva, ema loli by hechsher. I might have thought that halacha l'maisa again. Maybe I will say because the tumah is so severe, therefore there is no prior contact with liquid that is necessary. Therefore tzvicha. Therefore the Gemara says that ultimately what? Ultimately both cases are necessary. Both the case of tumas sheretz as well as the case of tumas meis are necessary to teach you that in order for an object to be makabel tumah, halacha l'maisa, there first has to be contact with a liquid. Masir of Yosef Bar Shimon. So we'll say, so again, just so you understand, we're still kind of in the same place, which is that halacha l'maisa, here's what we know. We know that, for example, in the mincha case, in the case of the dry clump of mincha, I know that it could be makabel tumah, even though what? It has not had contact with a liquid. How do I know that? How do I know that? The concept of chibas kodesh, right? Chibas kodesh. But say the shana that was raised, which has not yet been answered, is okay. I know that it can be makabel tumah. Can it transmit tumah or not? So that I will say still has not been answered. We're working through this. Maaseh Rav Yosef. So Rav Yosef raised the following kasha. Rabbi Shimon Omer. Rabbi Shimon says as follows: Hukshiru b'shchita. So we'll say if ultimately again the animal has become hukshir through shchita. Supposed to remember again, this is the Rabbi Shimon, right? Rabbi Shimon who holds that dam shchita is not machshir an animal like kabel tumah, but what does Rabbi Shimon hold? Rabbi Shimon holds that the act of shchita itself is machshir the animal like kabel tumah. So we'll say Rabbi Shimon who holds hukshiru b'shchita, that ultimately again the animal is hukshir through shchita. Hukshiru afilu lemimnei bohu rishon v'sheni. I will say ultimately again, this is actually very interesting. So Rabbi Shimon who holds that shchita itself is machshir the animal l'kabel tumah, he holds that not only is the animal ultimately able to makabel tumah, but what? The animal is able to transmit tumah as well. able to transmit tumazon. Look at Rashi just a moment. It's the first of the short lines. So it's actually quite amazing. We now have Rabbi Shimon on record as saying that when you shecht, shchita makes the animal roi lekabel tuma, and not only that, but the animal has the ability to convey tuma as well. To which the Gemara says, "Va'amai." Why is that? V'ha lav ochal haba b'mayimhu. Rabbi say, why is that? Why does that animal have the ability to convey tuma? After all, it's what? It has never come in contact with water. It has never come in contact with liquid. Again, Rabbi, remember, Rabbi Shimon is of the opinion that dam shchita is not machshir lekabel tuma. Amalei Abaye says asou kehechsher mai midrabanan. Because I will say Rabbi Shimon's opinion is that halacha lemaisa, the act of shchita, has made it as if it has come into contact with water midrabanan. So we'll say the act of shchita itself has made it as if the item has come in contact with water, and therefore halacha lemaisa, it's not only right lekabel tuma, but it could convey tuma as well. I'm Rabbi Zera. So Rabbi Zera raises another issue. Tashma. So let's listen to this. Tashma. Habotzer legat. What's actually an interesting case? If somebody goes ahead and collects like a basket of grapes, what am I going to do with the grapes? I'm going to press them. Right? I'm going to press the grapes. So what's talacha? Shammai Omer Huchsher. So we'll say Shammai says that's what happens when the liquid seep. Now, obviously, if you put the grapes in the basket, what almost inevitably happens is there's some liquid that comes out of the grapes. Now, both the way the basket works is the basket is perforated on the bottom, so the liquid gets wasted, right? The liquid is not collected. Sabaye says that liquid is hochsher. That liquid is machsher the grapes lekabel tuma. Now Rashi says over here, Shammai Omer hochsher. Plus, even though I don't want that liquid, right? That liquid is of no use to me. I don't want the liquid. Nevertheless, because we'll say the liquid is going to go to waste. So we'll say, so remember again, without getting into the technicalities over here, Rashi quotes the Gemara Masechah Shabbos that says, Shammai says that liquid that comes out of the grapes will make the grapes roi lekabel tuma, hochsha lekabel tuma, out of gzeira, out of maybe you'll use a lined basket in which you will collect the liquid. So we'll say the point over here is that Shammai holds that when the liquid comes out of the grapes, so the grapes now are kasha lekabel tuma. So listen to this. So Shammai Omer Hochsher. Hillel Omer lo Hochsher. Hillel says, ultimately, again, in this case, the grapes are not Hochsher lekabel tuma. Vishasik le Hillel l'Shammai. And ultimately, you know, we'll say what happened. Hillel was Mekabel Shammai's shita. Literally, again, Shasik le Hillel Shammai. Hillel was silenced before Shammai. So apparently, again, Hillel accepted Shammai's opinion that indeed this liquid is machshir the grapes lekabel tuma. So Gemara says, I don't understand. Amai. Why is that? Vaha lav ochel haba b'maimu. I both say the grapes never came in contact with water. If the grapes never came in contact with water, then what? Then how could they be hochshel lekabel tuma? Amar le Abaye aso kehechsher mai midrabanan. I will say ultimately Abaye says that what? That it is as if ultimately again the grapes have come in contact with water midrabanan. So we'll say essentially what we're saying over here is rabbinically, ultimately again it's as if the grapes have come in contact with water. Therefore, hochshel lekabel tuma. Amar Rav Yosef, amina lecha ana hochshru b'shchita va'at amrit li aso kehechsher mayim. So Rav Yosef says, I don't understand. Let's go jump back for just a second. In the case of the shchita, I told you that according to Rabbi Shimon, once the animal is shechted, the act of shechita, according to Rabbi Shimon, makes it hochshel lekabel tuma. And you answer me back by telling me that once it's been shechted, it's as if it came in contact with water. I will say, those are two different things. What are you answering me? Va'amr lecha Rabbi Zera, va'amrit le asol kehechsher mayim. And va'amr lecha Rabbi Zera will say, no. What I mean to tell you is that what? Is that halacha l'maisa, the act of shechita, makes it as if it was hochsher b'mayim. Therefore, again, I will say, for our purposes, what does this mean? The Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish nami asol kehechsher mayim. I will say, what we're trying to say over here is that according to Reish Lakish as well, it's as if it has come in contact with water. Again, I will say, Reish Lakish is the one who raised the initial kasha. His kasha was that if you have a clump of dry mincha, right, it was they never came in contact with oil. So we know that mincha has the ability to receive tumah. How do we know that? That's based on the concept of chibas kodesh, right? Sanctities, right? Sanctity of kodesh items. Rabbi say, what was our shaila? Our shaila was, does it have the ability to transmit tumah? What the Gemara seems to be saying now, based on the concept we have developed, is that we see that under certain circumstances, rabbinically, Chazal made certain cases as if they came in contact with water, which we'll say is a rabbinic form of hechsher l'tumah. Therefore, the Gemara suggests over here that according to Reish Lakish, the Reish Lakish nami aso kehechsher mayim. That according to Reish Lakish, as Rabbi he will say that in the case of mincha, we treat it as if what? We treat it as if the clump of the mincha has come in contact with water, and therefore halacha l'maisa is roi l'kabel tumah. So the Gemara says, Atu Reb Shimon litlos kami ba'ilei. So we'll say, remember again, we'll say the most that rabbinic tumah does. So let's analyze this for just a moment. So what you're telling me now is that halacha l'maisa, Reb Shimon will say that in the case of the dry clump of the mincha, what's going to be the halacha? It's mekabel tumah based on what? Based on chibas kodesh. Can it convey tumah to something else? The answer is yes, rabbinically. So we'll say the most that rabbinic tumah does is what? Is tolin. It allows you to suspend things, meaning you can't eat it and you can't burn it. That's not Rabbi Shimon's kasha. Rabbi Shimon wants to know, can the item be consumed or does the item have to be destroyed? Amar lei, so I'm sorry, so At Rabbi Shimon, litlos kami barilei, ki kami barilei, lisrof. Well, so Rabbi Shimon's shayla is not in a din in tolin. Rabbi Shimon wants to know, mamish, does this item have the ability to convey tumah to something else and that will cause it to be burned? Michlal, Dechibas hakodesh da'oraisa. And I will say, now what the Gemara says, well, one second, maybe we need to even take a further step back. Because Rabbi Shimon is taking it for granted that what? That halacha l'maisa. You see, I will say, our whole shaila was what? Our whole shaila was taking it for granted or assuming that the dry clump of the mincha itself is right l'kabel tumah, right? Or is mekabel tumah. Our shaila was, does that clump have the ability to convey tumah or not? That was our whole discussion. The Gemara says, well, one second. So you're telling me that you know for sure that because of chibas kodesh, that the dry clump of mincha is mamish receptive to tumah as if it came in contact with a liquid, i.e. even tumah d'oraisa. So the Gemara says, where do you know that from? Right? Where do we know this concept of, so it's interesting, we spent the whole time kind of trying to figure out the follow-up case. Now we're taking a step back and talking about the original case. From where do we know about chibas kodesh? To which the Gemara says, I'll tell you from where. The chibas kodesh d'oraisa minolan, ilem amidichsev va'basar sheiga b'chol tamei. So we'll say, maybe you'll say like this. The pasuk says, va'basar sheiga b'chol tamei lo ye'achel. Right, the basar which will come in contact ultimately again with any tamei will not go ahead and be consumed. High basar. So let's analyze this. So this is sacrificial meat, the sacrificial item which became tamei. So high basar, this kasher b'mai. We'll say, what did this basar become tamei with? Or I should say, how did it become receptive l'kabel tumah? Ilema this kasher b'dam. If you want to say that maybe, well, we'll say that's easy. Sacrificial meat, how does it become roi l'kabel tumah? We'll say, how? Simple. Sacrificial blood. Right? Blood is one of the liquids. So again, sacrificial meat is always right the kabel tumah because it comes in contact with blood. No, not true. I'll tell you why. Rabbi said, from where do I know that dam kachim? From where do I know that ultimately, again, sacrificial blood is not machshir, does not make an item right the kabel tumah? Shene'emar lo sochlanu ala aretz tishbechenu kamayim. Because the pasuk says, you shall not eat it, talking about blood. You shall spill it on the ground like water. What does that teach me? Dam hanishbach kamayim machshir. It is only blood which is spilled out, which is machshir. What's the type of blood that's spilled out? The dam of Chullin. She'enu nishbach kamayim, but sacrificial blood, which is not spilled out like water, which in fact is utilized as one of the pivotal pieces of sacrificial service, Eino machshir. So we'll say dam kachim in fact is not machshir l'kabel tumah. So how is this sacrificial meat roi l'kabel tumah? It's not sacrificial blood because we'll say interesting enough, sacrificial blood is not machshir l'kabel tumah. Ella, maybe you'll say this kasher mashke beis mitbachya. Well, maybe you'll say that ultimately what? It becomes kasher through the liquids of the slaughterhouse. So we'll say, if you look at Rashi, b'mashki beit midbachya, b'mayim sherachzu bahen abasar, b'beis hamidbach. Listen to this. There was a slaughter chamber in the Beis Hamikdash, and we'll say, in that slaughter chamber, what would they do? They would wash down the meat. So maybe it's the water that they used to wash down the meat that makes sacrificial meat right. The kabel tuma. V'ham Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina mashki beis midbachya lo dayin shein dachan ela shein machshirin. I will say, there's a problem. Rabbi Chanina says, not only is the water of the slaughter chamber, not only is it tahor, but it also doesn't make the item roi lekabel tuma. And I will say why that is. We'll have to see. V'chitema tirgima adam. Maybe I will say, you'll say that when it says that the liquids of the Bei Misbachya are not machshir lekabel tuma, maybe that's talking about sacrificial blood but not water. V'hamashki ka'amar. Let's say it's not true. Ultimately, why? Because mashki is plural. Mashki means all liquids of the Bei Misbachya are not roi lekabel tuma. Elalav the iskasher. Elalav the iskasher b'chibas hakodesh. Rather, we'll say, what do you have to say? You have to say that halacha l'maisa, the way sacrificial meat becomes tameh is how we'll say. Ultimately, again, through chibas kodesh. You have to say it's not becoming, right? It's not becoming hochshel lekabel tuma. Through what? It's not becoming hochshel lekabel tuma, I will say, through the blood, because sacrificial blood does not make something right lekabel tuma, and it's not becoming right lekabel tuma through the waters, which it's sprayed down with, because apparently the Brisa says that those waters do not make it right lekabel tuma either. So how does sacrificial meat become right lekabel tuma? It must be what? It must be chibas kodesh. It must be halacha l'maisa through ultimately again chibas kodesh, through this highly sensitized state to the fact that it's a sacrificial item that allows it to become mekabel tuma even without what Rabbi say, even without contact with a liquid medium. I suppose we have to stop over here. We'll pick up Amir Hashem with the rest of this sugya tomorrow.